The Dallas Stars are going back to the Western Conference Finals. Thomas Harley, the overtime winner in Game 6 to seal the deal in Dallas.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. And welcome to a special celebratory crossover edition with Spits and Suds. I hopped on with Gavin Spittle and we celebrated this Game 6 victory for the Dallas Stars over the Winnipeg Jets in overtime by a final score of 2-1. And yes, the Dallas Stars are going back to the Western Conference Finals for the third straight season. Not too shabby if I don't say so myself. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. This is Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. It is an amazing, amazing night for the Dallas Stars. We celebrate it. So enjoy this crossover with Spits and Suds and my man, Gavin Spittle.
And welcome into a series victory edition of Spits and Suds. I'm Gavin Spittle of 105.3 The Fan. It's Saturday night. The game started at 7, so that means we have plenty of time to crack those Frosties. And it's collaboration Saturday night, so my guest is already cracking his. There's a nice one right there.
Cheers to you, Gavin.
Cheers to Joey Erickson of Locked On Stars. Absolutely love doing collabs with our podcasters across DFW, and we have one of the tops tonight with Joey Erickson, good friend, great podcaster. Please check him out at Locked On Stars. How are you tonight, my friend?
Well, I appreciate the tire pump, Gavin, as always, and I'm fantastic. I have to say, this grapefruit wheat beer I was telling you about early actually goes down pretty smoothly. So shout out to the Boulevard Brewing Company. This is in Kansas City, Missouri. So shout out to them. No free ads, I guess, but this is pretty good. So I'm fantastic, Gavin. What a series clincher. What a win for the Stars, and approving and advancing to the Western Conference Final in 3 straight seasons is nothing to scoff at. So congrats to Jim Nill for what he's done here.
Yeah. Truly amazing that's happening. It really is when you think about it. 3 straight years of Western Conference championship appearances. I mean, you always obviously want to get over the hump at some point, but at the same time, I mean, that is something that I think Pete DeBoer, Jim Nill should take a step back and realize, wow, this is not easy to do, specifically when you look at the gauntlet that they've gone through in these years. Yeah. And I think this year is as comparable as last year. I mean, you did have the Stanley Cup champions and the Stanley Cup champions the prior year, but Colorado and then the President's Cup trophy winner in Winnipeg, 2 heck of a teams. I was saying the other day, and let's start with this, Joey. I think that the Central Division can be at a disadvantage when it comes to this. I mean, I know you have to play who's in front of you, but at the same time, there's a little bit of a difference between where Vegas is and the LA Kings compared to, I mean, look at what Winnipeg had to go through as well. They went to 7 with the hottest team in the NHL in St. Louis. Then, here's the Dallas Stars. So I feel as though Edmonton might be a little bit more fresh heading into this series.
Yeah, they probably are, and they were last year for the most part. I think everybody echoed the sentiment that Dallas had the rougher road to get to the Western Conference Final, and even Minnesota. Look at the fight they gave Vegas in that first round, because they were finally healthy. They finally got everybody back, and they took them to the brink, and frankly probably should have won if they were a bit cleaner throughout the series. But I thought Minnesota was the better team for large chunks of that series too. Just really dominating, physical, fast, hard hockey games in this division. And every single series that feature two Central Division opponents really lived up to the hype. And I think this one here did tonight. It was just such an awesome game. And of course, it helps the Stars win, but it finally felt like both teams were throwing their best punches tonight.
Yes.
Because in the first 5 games, it just felt like one team kind of had the edge for the majority of each of those games. But tonight, it was just back and forth. It's anxiety inducing watching them go up and down the rink. And Otter was fantastic. It was good to see Hellebuck have a good game. I know we don't want him to be lights out against Dallas, but it's good for the product, and it's good for the entertainment of a series. And he was really, really good tonight. The Stars were as well. And they find a way to just push through. They find a way to survive in advance. And I think you have to give Dallas a lot of credit for doing that, because this is not the same team we saw a year ago. It's not even the same team 3 months ago, with all the injections into the lineup at the trade deadline. And they've just found a way to get it to come together, I guess, at the right points. And this melting pot of all these different personalities and different dilemmas. I mean, the last month of the season was just awful, and they've just sort of flipped the switch. And Pete DeBoer deserves a lot of credit for that. He deserves so much credit for what Dallas has done under his tenure. It's remarkable. And once again, I think he coached a really fantastic series. He jumbled the lines a bit once again here tonight, and he pushed the right buttons, and the Stars get it done on home ice.
Yeah, specifically after the game, you're on this like amazing high, and then they pan to Mark Scheifele, and there are so many of us that are involved in sports or in just in life when your dad has been crucial in what you've been able to accomplish. And I can't comprehend losing a father and then losing a series. I mean, so many, you see hockey players after they lose a series and how they break down. Nikolai Ehlers after the game, breaking down, probably knowing this could be, possibly the end of his run in Winnipeg.
Correct.
So, I just wanted to, we're celebrating. This is awesome. And I'm not trying to, bring us down, but at the same time, you just have to feel. And it was really good to see, once the game is over, the embrace of Jamie Benn and Mark Scheifele. I think that was needed. And obviously Tyler Seguin has a close relationship with Mark Scheifele, and they embraced for a while as well. It was great to see Connor Hellebuck and Jake Oettinger having a conversation. And the other thing is when these team handshakes happen, I'm always reminded of the respect that Pete DeBoer has for the opposing team, in that players truly want to shake his hand and just spend a moment with him. That's why he was an assistant coach with the Four Nations. And that's why, he gets jobs. He's well respected in NHL circles.
Yeah, hockey is just a beautiful game, right, Gavin? That's why we talk about it as much as we do, and why we talk about it with so much passion, because I don't think there's any other sport in the entire world where their players and coaches have as much respect for one another as this game did. And first off, thoughts and prayers with the Scheifele family. That is just completely awful. I can't imagine having to go play a game after hearing news like that, let alone in an elimination game. I think he made his dad proud. I think he really did. He was excellent. And I know he was in the box. But I think most teams would have taken that penalty. Otherwise, the breakaway. I think you take that penalty, and sometimes you have to live with those consequences. And it stinks that he was in the box for that. And I'm sure that's eating him up a bit to some degree. But it certainly it certainly was an emotional scene for him, and the handshake line, of course. And it was nice to see just the respect between Ben and Scheifele, of course, who got into it earlier in the series. But man, I just felt awful for him, and credit to him for playing, because no one would have batted an eye if he just said, I just can't go tonight. And he did. And of course, he scores a goal. It just felt right. And
beauty.
Yeah, great job by him. And just great job by everybody involved. For what it seemed like, I didn't see the first two periods, but it seemed like ESPN touched on it quite a bit, and they did an excellent job. And it always reminds you, it's like, yeah, we play a really freaking fun game, and we get so into it sometimes. But those are always cool moments, whether the result was a win or loss for him. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like playoff hockey, the energy, the rivalries, the nonstop action. With the Stanley Cup playoffs heating up, there's never been a better time to see it live. And Game Time makes getting in the building fast and affordable. Game Time gives you last-minute ticket deals, zone deals for deep discounts, panoramic views of your seat, and all-in pricing with no hidden fees. Plus, ticket prices often drop closer till you get to puck drop, so you can score big without overpaying. You've heard me talk about Game Time, and it's not just for playoff hockey, although you should get to the AAC. Did you see the building erupt for Thomas Harley's winner? You need to be there. It is good for baseball, for theater, comedy, you name it. Go ahead and use Game Time. Find great seats as low as $100 and get exclusive discounts. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, Winnipeg continues to lose, and that streak will now continue. It's 2023, the last time they won a road playoff game, which is incredible. But I mean, I think they can hold their heads high, put on a good one tonight. I think me personally, I think if, it should be quieted down as far as Connor Hellebuck not being a big time goalie. I thought he performed well in this series. Sure, he had a bad game, but I mean, Otters had a bad game in the playoffs. But I thought Hellebuck was amazing tonight. And let's start from the Stars' perspective. I mean, Jake Oettinger taking his game to the next level. Absolutely amazing. Great stat that was put up tonight that I made sure that I captured regarding Jake Oettinger. 17-6 record, 2.03 goals against, and a .924 save percentage, coming off a loss in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, that is just incredible stuff. And I mentioned that on Locked On Stars going into Game 6 too. It was obviously a disappointment from a Dallas Stars side in Game 5, but I just felt that Dallas really shouldn't have had any pressure on them in this game. Of course, you have pressure to close it out, but it was Winnipeg that had to do something they haven't done in a while and haven't done in the postseason, and that's win a road playoff game. So Dallas should feel pretty confident heading into this Game 6, and I think they went into it with the right approach. And Jake Oettinger's the backbone. He's the backbone of the Dallas Stars. He just holds them in, makes timely saves. That stop he had on Kyle Connor in the second period, that was just point blank, just really easy. It just looked easy for him. Just telescoped out, got the blocker there, like he knew Connor was going to fire it in that spot, and he was just a smidge better than Connor Hellebuck. And sometimes it's all you have to be at this time of the year. Just be one save better than your opponents. And he was fantastic. But overall, I just loved the Stars game. They weren't passive tonight. They went in on the forecheck, and they were just hungry and relentless. They created a lot of mistakes for Winnipeg's defense. It would have been nice if they took advantage of it a bit earlier, but Hellebuck made some incredible stops. But I think the bounce back statistic in general under Pete DeBoer is just incredible. Of course, it starts with Otter, but it's also what the Stars do in front of them. And after all these kind of goose egg or laying egg games for Dallas, I never overreact to them at this time of year, just because they're such a veteran group. They always find a way to punch back and be their best the next game. And they were here tonight for the most part, and they were just a bit better. And it was nice to finally get a power play at the dying stage of regulation, and the Stars capitalized, and you have to give them credit for that.
So as far as the Western Conference Final, just to let everyone know, just released schedule, the Stars and the Edmonton Oilers, little interesting because they're going to start on Wednesday, which I find fascinating, Joey, in that Game 7 for Toronto and Florida happens tomorrow night. So East gets a shorter rest time, but it'll begin in Dallas. Dallas, not by much, as Edmonton came on strong toward the end of the year. I think it's a 5-point difference between the Stars and Edmonton, but that gives Dallas home ice advantage, that extra Game 7 if necessary. So they'll start on Wednesday night at 7, and then Friday evening at 7, and then Sunday, a week from tomorrow, they will play a afternoon tilt in Edmonton at 2:00 Central Time. And then Game 4 is 2 days later. So every 2 days they're playing in this series. May 27th at 7, May 29th at 7, May 31st at 7, and June 2nd at 7. So all 7:00 Central starts, which is nice, minus the May 25th 2 p.m. start. I do love those 7:00 starts. we
Yeah.
The last two series, but the reasoning is that you're going to have the East go one day and you're going to have the West go one day.
Yeah, this is much better for everybody's sleeping schedules, and I'm really looking forward to this series once again. Edmonton, at the beginning of the year, I had them winning the Pacific and winning the West. I just thought they made a lot of great moves in the offseason, and it just felt like they sort of, I guess, underperformed for the most of the regular season. I know they had some injuries here and there with their big boys, but I was watching the other night in that game against, who were they playing again? I can completely blank. Vegas. Sorry, I was completely blank there. I was watching that game and I was like, oh gosh, here we go again. Feels like Skinner's kind of figuring it out. So it's going to be, it'll be a battle, that's for sure. But looking forward to it. It's a rematch, and I think that's always good for the storylines and such.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting aspect, we talk about Dallas having Mikko Rantanen this time around. One of the things Edmonton has is scoring depth. It's no longer just the Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl show. And yeah, Zach Hyman is, of course, everyone knows. But, you look, for instance, at Game 4, Adam Henrique scores 2 goals. Evander Kane nets a goal.
He's been awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's, you can't say, all right, shut down McDavid and Draisaitl, you're good to go. This is a 4-line Edmonton team now. So it's going to be an interesting series. Excited about it. But tonight we celebrate. My question to you, if you're Pete DeBoer, let's start with this, Joey, and then we'll take some tweets that you guys threw to us on X. Would you continue to go 11-7 by the performance of Miro Heiskanen? And by the way, with Alexander Petrovic only playing just under 10 minutes, and Liam Bichsel actually wasn't out there much as well. Interesting, it just went into overtime, but all those minutes tonight, and your extra defenseman only plays about 9 minutes, 50 seconds.
Yeah, he was riding the big boys. There was a shift at one point in the third period, and Harley and Heiskanen was out there, and I was like, if that was game 5 or 6, or game 5 or 4, I don't know if we would have saw Miro out there at that point. It was when the game was in balance, of course, and Dallas was looking for some offense. I think they're gonna probably roll it back to 12 and 6. Miro looked awesome.
Yeah, he did.
He looked incredible. That one third period rush he had, he went in, he dangled a bit and tried to work it in front. I'm like, all right, 4, here we go. Like I see you, pal. I see you. You're feeling confident once again, and that's great to see for Dallas. And as much as I've loved Petrovic and Bichel together, it just feels like the right time. And also, what I've loved about the 11 and 7 too, it's not really what Pete DeBoer likes to do. That's not something he's usually comfortable with, but he went to it in this series because it benefited Dallas, and he was able to give the Rantanens and the Johnstons of the world a bit more ice time. And now I'm curious, even if he does go to 12 and 6, are we going to see those heavy minutes still for Mikko Rantanen? Because I just feel like you have to throw him out there if you can, because he was really, really good tonight. I mean, look at some of the time on ice number, 25 minutes for Harley. Mikko Rantanen, 24-22, second most. And Miro was right behind him. I think that's the more alarming one. Miro's right there at 23-40. So
great point.
It's time to take the Gunners off. I think the Gunners were off tonight, and just let them roll.
Yeah, not to mention, of all the stars, Mikko Rantanen had the most shifts on ice in 32. So Heiskanen with 29 and Harley with 30. And the last 3 games, I don't have the exact minutes, but I believe it has gone just over 14 minutes for Heiskanen, up to 18 plus minutes.
Yeah.
And tonight, 23-40. So clearly going up 4 to 5 minutes a night. And to me, that's why I think they go 12-6, because, you need an extra forward to me for that back checking for, I mean, you can get away with it maybe with Winnipeg, but I need a fresh Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
And
they need a Colin Blackwell. I really do. Yeah, I think you need a Colin Blackwell just to insert some energy back into the lineup, because I think he's been really, really good. But Miro's just looked like his old self. And you look at the scoring chance numbers when he was on the ice for Miro tonight, 20 scoring chances for 5 against. And the scoring chances were heavily in favor of the Stars tonight, but he looked excellent. And I think just pairing him with Harley again, just allowing them to just kind of take control and set the tone for Dallas. And I thought it was perfect that Harley scored the overtime winner tonight too, just because he's been probably the MVP for Dallas throughout the season, and having to take so much responsibility when Miro went down, and was excellent tonight, and just really, really phenomenal stuff from Miro. But they're going to have to use everybody to try to beat an Edmonton team. And you look at a year ago, it was sort of the difference too for Dallas. Special teams were a problem, but we talked about, if you stop 97-29, you probably win. Well, it wasn't the case, because Connor Brown's of the world had a heck of a series, and that proved to be a bit of the difference.
Yeah, it's going to be a great series. And we do need to point out, we talk about like what they did on the ice. We complain about the penalties all the time. Tonight, 0 penalties for the Dallas Stars. Now, granted, the whistles are probably in the pocket, and for good reason. I do want to point out, I thought the refs called it right. I thought they, sure, I guess if they were going, there probably could have been some calls, but I did not see like blatant misses.
Correct. Yeah.
And I thought that was a beautiful thing. I thought the breakaway, to me, if it was completely 100% unabated and then the penalty occurred, I think you're forced to call the penalty shot. I think in this scenario, I felt as though Scheifele was close enough, able to get a couple of whacks. I think that actually probably was the right call.
And Fleury was tracking back too. I don't know if he would have got to him, but I thought it was a fair call too. If it's in the regular season, is it a penalty shot?
Could be.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like, I really do think that probably it's 75-25. They give that to Steele. But I wasn't irritated by it, and I'm okay with the series ending on a goal during the action. I'm okay with that. I differ from the phantom goaltender interference call from exactly a year ago with Duchesne in front.
Oh yeah,
that should have counted. I'm sorry, I'll stick by that one, but I'm okay with that going to a power play. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm okay with every game the rest of the way being called like that. I love when the refs just swallow the whistles, call anything that's egregious. And I know if they called the game like maybe the rest of the series, Dallas probably would have benefited more from some of the penalties. They probably would have got a couple power plays in the game, but it was fast, it was physical, and the refs obviously made that known by putting the whistles in the pockets. And I'm okay with that because it made for the most entertaining game of the entire series.
Yeah.
Because I'm not having to watch power plays. And I like power plays too. Look, I get it. It's benefited the Stars this postseason because they've been able to capitalize on those. But I will watch 5-on-5 hockey for the rest of my life and never complain about it. And I know some people are worried about setting precedents and whatnot, but look, it's okay. And I thought the refs were great tonight, and obviously the Stars benefited from the call. So at the end of the day, they did enough tonight. And if you continue to work, I think it sets a good standard too. Continue to work your bag off. You're eventually going to get a call, and the Stars did it tonight. And it was obvious, but I'm okay with the obvious ones being called and some of the discretionary ones let go.
They say that a power play is tough when it's split in two and you come back after being in the locker room and you have half the time. But in this scenario, I think it actually benefited the Stars, only about 15 seconds. And then they went to overtime. And the reason I say that is you have a clean sheet of ice.
Yeah.
That's really, really important. If you watch the game-winning goal by Harley, the one-timer, that puck actually starts out on the end, but to me, due to the smooth ice, it actually flattens back out.
Yeah.
So it was a perfect position for a one-timer. If that's at the end of the period, who knows what's happening. But, the other thing is it was a perfect shot by Harley. It was, just, I don't know of any goalie that stops that unless they're in that position.
And steal shot too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
both of the Stars goals were just perfectly placed
on
tonight.
one-timers.
On one-timers. That's how you got to beat good goaltenders too, so they don't expect it. I think there was a partial screen in front of Hellebuck too, a bit, and Harley went against the grain. But I've always said too, Gavin, you mentioned when the power play is split up. I love that when Dallas takes the penalty. It seems like Dallas takes a lot of those penalties.
Yeah.
But I always love that. I don't know what it is, but when that happens, I've always said if it's at the end of a period or into regulation, I'm like, okay, they're getting through it. I just always think it disrupts the rhythm for another team having to kind of regroup. But credit to Dallas, they didn't really allow that and they went after it. But I've always said that, like, I always feel comfortable when Dallas is going in. There's maybe a minute and a half left. I'm like, they'll be all right. They're killed off. Maybe it's just 20 minutes. I get to just accept the reality that they're on the kill or something. But and Dallas's kill is pretty much unbeatable here currently. But I've always liked that. And that's why I think I give Dallas a lot more credit for what they did because it wasn't going all that perfect off the hop. They got a decent look with Rantanen on the one-timer, and Hellebuck made the save. And then after that wasn't a whole lot, but Sagan with a great pass. Credit to Marchment. I know he had a bit of a rough series, but thought he looked excellent tonight, which was good to see. I thought he was going to be the best Dallas Star in the series. I predicted that just because I felt like this would have been a series that benefited him. It really didn't in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
A lot of bonehead penalties. And I've seen you throw out on X. You weren't very happy with a lot of the penalties in the series. I wasn't either. But I thought he played some of his best hockey tonight. He was able to get into that puck on the sidewall, brush it to Sagan, and then boom, a beautiful shot from Harley.
I think that tonight's a perfect example. You can play hard and limit your penalties.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
you
threw
just
a huge hit on Ehlers, threw a couple big pops tonight.
Absolutely. Also want to point out this year alone, after the Stars defeat in game 1 to the Colorado Avalanche, they have won 6 straight at home.
Yeah.
So home cooking is a beautiful thing in these playoffs for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, I mean, the building's just awesome. I love watching the pop of the AAC. So shout out to all the Stars fans out there. They've made it a true home ice advantage here this season. And a game where home ice hasn't really meant that much, it feels like, or really hasn't been that much of an advantage, but it obviously has been for Dallas after we've seen some stinkers on the road. But also, like, I came out even after some of the shutout games, and sometimes you just have to tip your cap. I know we're watching from a Stars perspective a lot of times, but sometimes I have to sit back and just think, like, that's how Winnipeg felt in game 5, or that's how Winnipeg felt in game 1. Like, sometimes you have to tip your cap. Like, these are great teams, and Dallas isn't going to dominate every single game. And they didn't dominate every single period tonight. There were some lulls in the game, and you just have to weather some of those storms. I mean, they've just put on a performance on home ice. They got a couple of OT wins now. It's nice that Dallas is winning some of those overtime games. Man, I remember a few years ago they couldn't buy an overtime win, but now they've kind of got that clutch gene. And yeah, they have the makings of a team that can win it all this year. They really do. Whether they put it all together or not is another question. But they look the part, I think.
Yeah, I think they do too. Obviously, you need the depth scoring in this next round against Edmonton. I think defensively, they've played really well. You know, he's not talked about a lot, but I think Cody Ceci has been a nice acquisition. Just a nice. I mean, you know, you look at his minutes tonight, nearly 21 minutes on the ice, and he does a good job killing penalties. So, like, you know, Esa Lindell's always going to be solid. So I think, you know, defensively, they've played much better than they did, obviously, toward the end of last year. So you always can improve, but at the same time, this team's going to get well-needed rest. And then obviously prepare for Edmonton, a fired-up Edmonton that was really upset that they lost the Stanley Cup last year. Depending on who wins in the East, I'm sure they'll be even more fired up if it's Florida to get that rematch going. I actually did have Toronto going to the Stanley Cup, which is pretty rare because Toronto's not good in the playoffs.
No.
So I mean, you know, we'll see. I also had Winnipeg going. So, but you know, I learned my lesson. Probably picking the Central is awful tough.
Yeah, it's just a gauntlet. Like it's hard to be beat up for 6 or 7 games, and that St. Louis series they played in was obviously so physical. And we saw more of that tonight in game 6. Again, I know I keep coming back to this, but it's just such a fantastic game. It's just so physical and going up and down. Transition games were fun, and you got some great goaltending. And it'll be really intriguing to see who kind of pulls it out, especially out east. I would love to see Carolina, Dallas. Oh, I think that would be a fun series. I think the storylines write themselves with everything there. I think the NHL probably secretly may want that, or Edmonton, Toronto, of course. they would always love a couple of Canadian teams, but yeah, it's been a fun time of year. And credit to the Central Division for living up to the hype, man. All these 5-game series, you can't have those in the second round. It's got to go at least 6. So credit to Dallas for laying a stinker in game 5. That way they could come back home. And well, for whatever reason too, like Dallas just, when they clinch, it is at home. So I picked Dallas in 6 ahead of this series because I had no faith in them going to Winnipeg in a game 7, despite Pete DeBoer being pretty much, I guess, the messiah when it comes to game 7s. I'll probably pick Stars in 7 against Edmonton. Just feels that way off the hop. My first impressions.
We had talked on Spits and Suds about a statistic to keep an eye on, and that was face-off win percentage. Tonight, Stars dominated 64% to 36%.
Okay.
Always good on the dot, but
Yeah.
tonight specifically, that's the most lopsided it's been in the series.
I'm actually shocked to hear that too, Gavin. I felt like they weren't winning a single draw at one point. So I really didn't. There was one, maybe it was just the second period when they were kind of getting hemmed in. But I felt like Winnipeg won so many faceoffs and they were getting good looks off of those draws. And that right there is why it's important to win some of those faceoffs. So I'm honestly surprised to hear how lopsided it is, but you're absolutely right. When Dallas is doing that, they're going to be in good shape. And usually Jamie Benn is a big part of that. I'm curious just to see some of the numbers individually. Hintz goes 5 for 14, so he wasn't very great tonight. Johnston 4 for 8. How about this? Matt Duchene 15 of 17 tonight.
Wow.
In the dot. That is great. 15 of 17.
See, those are the little nuggets. I love those nuggets.
7 for 7 in the offensive zone for Dutchie. And that line, by the way, they turned back. How did they not score a goal?
Yeah.
And they spent 2 minutes.
A lot of pressure.
And the offense, they look great. But right there, Duchene, he kind of chugged the rock for Dallas. 15 for 17 in the dot. That's remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's take some of your tweets from X. We have a collaboration going right now, so a collaboration celebration with the great host of Locked On Stars, Joey Erickson, and I'm Gavin Spittle of Spits and Suds. All right, Jordan Harper says, who will have home ice in the next round? Super simple question from Athens this morning. Well, technically right now, my friend, it is the Dallas Stars. Whoever wins game 1 has home ice advantage, right, Joey?
Yeah. Well, Stars haven't shown that they're very good in game 1s, but hey, they did rectify that in this series. So it'd be nice for them to get off to a good start. But correct. Whoever wins game 1 is the true home ice advantage.
Absolutely. Why Joe number 53 is elite says that barn was loud for only having 2 goals to celebrate. Yeah, I thought the Stars at times with no goals gave the crowd some energetic feel with, like you mentioned, Joey, some nice hits, some big saves. So they were certainly into it.
I couldn't believe Otter made that one stop too.
We
didn't touch on that. I know we've gone 30 minutes, but I
know.
I saw the pass to Appleton. I almost looked away. I was like, you're kidding me. And I think the Stars were fortunate, fluttered a bit too. It wasn't flat coming off his blade. Otherwise, maybe he buries that, but Otter just facing back. That's two saves he made in the series facing his cage. I would not say that is the routine way to do it, but hey, whatever works for Otter, and he pounced. And I just think the Stars crowd has lived up to the bill every single time.
Absolutely. All right, our friend Wasuko with the wifey celebrating Otters better. Boy, I'll tell you what, that is awesome. The wifey wearing a sweet Stars cap and a sweater.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
That's a beauty right there.
And a Shiner, baby. That's my drink of choice right there, Gavin. If I had one of those. But again, the grapevine or the grapefruit wheat beer is going to work tonight.
Says a really intense series. Let's get revenge. Cheers and stick taps to you, Gavin, and also Joey and y'all. Well, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Eris sent celebration and a couple pictures of a Frosty. Fat Jimmy says 11-7 has to be over now. No, I'd like to reacclimate Miro these last few games, but it feels like too many minutes on Mikko. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we sort of hashed that out, but I think it is a bit too many minutes for Mikko too. But I like that they're getting him out there. It felt like in this game too, DeBoer was just going to throw everything as much as they could at Winnipeg to try to finish it off. So maybe Mikko played a bit more than he maybe normally would have, but as I mentioned, with Miro and Harley being out there in that third period, kind of paired together, this just felt like, okay, DeBoer's like, okay, we're going to get the big boys out there and we're going to try to finish this off. That way we don't have to worry about a game 7. And I think it benefited them here tonight. But yeah, you go back 12-6. You can either get back in there if you want, depending on the matchup. I love Blackwell. Get some spark and energy back out there and roll some of the roll kind of the four lines that we've seen in the past. And you mentioned Dallas going to have to match up against the depth of Edmonton. That is better than it was a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. At CMB Palmer, yet another Alberta craft beer, this time the Far Hefe. Boy, that looks delicious. It's a really simple can with, I believe that would be the province, but it's in the German flag colors. Cheers to an absolutely spectacular effort by the Jets after going down 3-1. Look forward to the West Finals. I mean, definitely cheers to the Jets. They went out fighting for sure. Matto says conference finals time number 3 feels oh so good. Harley is goated, enjoying this one in the hot tub with the fiance. Kudos, and that is a twisted iced tea. Nice.
I may not be in the hot tub after this, but I was thinking about I was thinking about the bathtub. That may be too much information for you, Gavin, but I think I was going to maybe relax and enjoy another cold one.
Well, I mean, the key word, Joey, is fiance.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll be by myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like if my dog after this, Rico, says, "Hey, let's go in the hot tub," I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, Rico." You know. So just letting you know.
Yeah, credit to you, Mattel. Cheers to you, buddy.
Millsy says, wearing my Harley sweater. Well, I mean, Millsy making it happen. So happy for this win. Oh, wow. A little Boston accent here. Wicked Rista.
Oh, yeah.
By Third Wide Brewing in the glass in Jake Oettinger. I trust. Love that.
Man, and you spoke on the Otters better chant earlier, and I said that at the beginning of the series too. I knew Jake Oettinger was going to show up in this one. You knew he had a chip on his shoulder from earlier in the regular season. You can't tell me he wasn't thinking about that chant already going into this series, and he wanted to shut up the opposing fans a bit. And I loved even in game 5, you didn't hear the U.S. backup anymore. So I think Otter got the job done there. So credit to Otter, man. And he plays great with a chip on his shoulder.
957 save percentage tonight. Wow. In fact, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. He's had a 912 or better save percentage in the last 4 games. Yeah. So really, really impressive in this year's playoffs. 8 wins, 2.47 goals against, 919 save percentage. So
that'll work.
Yeah. Yeah.
and we've touched on it a lot. He set such a ridiculous standard after what he did against Calgary. It's just so hard to live up to that. In the regular season, even we look at him with such a microscope, and it's just so unfair. And he's still just he delivers most of the time. He just delivers, and he's been great all postseason long.
Yeah, he really has been tremendous. Let's see. Dylan Moreland says you were cheering for the right team, and that's all that matters. All right. Let's see. X-Nina. Of course, it was Thomas Harley. He loves an OT game-winning goal. That's a great point. He's been terrific.
Yeah, he has some clutch genes in it, doesn't he?
Yeah, said after the game, that's his biggest goal. Absolutely. Why wouldn't it be? He's the king. My name is not Damien. Otter with the save of the postseason, capital letters again. He has to be the favorite for Team USA next go-around, right? Oh, I mean,
they're going to be in good hands. I think.
That's yeah. Totally. Yeah. Totally. I mean, like, Swayman, had a much better second half of the year, so he'll be in the mix.
I don't know if Swayman's looked that great at the World Championships. Yeah, from what I'm seeing, but not that really matters. But
good point. Good point. That World Championships is not to get off on I really appreciate NHLers playing, but they got to be gassed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
to play an entire season. It's like, all right, go play for your country. Good.
Yeah, and I
Cool.
can't imagine the defense is all that great in front of Swayman either, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's some guys that, like, of course they're trying to play well, but they're probably a bit looser and not worried about their end of the rink as much.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm trying to think who won the game winner the other night for USA.
Wasn't Thompson? Didn't he have the hat trick?
Yeah, Tage Thompson on the one-timer.
Yeah.
He didn't even pump his fist or anything. He just like, okay, let's go home.
Yeah, like, they surrendered a 3-goal lead, I think, in the period. But yeah, there was just no excitement. Yeah, it was just like, okay, like, way to go, guys. That was like a beer league goal. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But let's see. Robbie G, how concerned should we be about the lack of depth scoring this last series? Yeah, sure. I mean, you should be. Not talked about. I mean, he does play a two-way game, so we do have to take that into consideration. It's the entire game, but Wyatt Johnston was quiet in this series.
Yeah, I know he definitely was. He had a fantastic. I can't remember what game it was now. It may have been game 1, but he had a really strong game. But yes, for the most part, he was quiet on the stat sheet, and that does give me some worries. But it is nice Dallas has a guy like they know they have someone that they can kind of go to, and someone I'm even more concerned about more than Johnson would be Jason Robertson. Just haven't really seen him do much of anything. That really concerns me because he can be such a great goal scorer, and we're just not seeing it enough. And he's had some flashes here and there. And he's probably hurt. I get that. He's probably playing through whatever lower body injury he's dealing with. But gosh, they could use him to score a goal. He doesn't have a goal in the series or in the postseason, does he? Since he returned, he just got like an assist. Yeah. So they could use him. But it was not like Steele scored a goal for you tonight. Like that was big. And he does a lot of other things for you. But I mean, you could throw Duchesne in there, Sagan, like all those guys, Marchman in there as well. If they can start finding the back of the net, could be good. But I would be concerned against a very, very good Edmonton team. I really would. But the great thing is sometimes from series to series, it can just change. And then all of a sudden you get that depth scoring. And we kind of saw that against Colorado. I felt for the most part, the depth scoring was pretty good. And then Mikko put the cape on the last 3 games. So hopefully it kind of comes back in the Western Conference Final.
Christopher DeHardy, live from Indianapolis, had my Stars jacket and hat with me today in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Media Center for good luck. So I covered Indy 500 qualifying, wore my Otter jersey to dinner with my parents, and got home just in time to see the goal, grabbing a very cold Coke tomorrow. Nice. So I've actually kissed the bricks in Indianapolis.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never been out there. I've been to one NASCAR race, I think in my life. I went out to Texas Motor Speedway once when I was really young. For whatever reason, I had a big affinity for Tony Stewart. That was my guy. Tony Stewart. I love the Home Depot car for whatever reason. I have like a Tony Stewart hat in my closet.
Nice.
So, but I was never huge into NASCAR racing or whatnot. Yeah. But obviously the Indy 500. That's the milk too, right? They drink that one.
Sure is.
That's tomorrow, right? Sunday. Is that when it's happening, or am I completely off my rocker on
or that? Is it next Sunday?
Or maybe but it's happening. So it hasn't happened, right?
Right. That's correct. Yeah, that's why they're doing it. Qualifying. Yeah. By the way, kissing the bricks, probably a top 5 kiss. I will not go through the other 4.
Oh, okay. Is your dog in there, or is it?
Oh, you know what? Good point. Top
you gotta
6.
Readjust it now.
Top 6. Okay. You might be listening. Top 6. Actually, I think someone else is listening too. That would be in my top 5. So there we go.
I love it.
All right, man. We're having a blast here tonight. The Credible Hulk. Never a doubt, Gavin. Never a doubt. Absolutely. Rupert says, didn't have any beer on hand, so polar water it is. All right. That's a beautiful lemon, 100% natural seltzer. Remember, say it all the time. when you pop a Frosty, it does not have to be alcoholic in origin. It can be water. It can be Coke. It can be Dr. Pepper, whatever. Just popping because it's about the celebration together, not necessarily the contents of the can or glass or bottle.
Well put. Well put.
Sir. Thomas Mizkiel, crack 'em. Stressful hockey, but great hockey. Cheers. And a beautiful dog. And he has a pet, so the dog has a stuffed toy, which is actually a beer bottle, and has a Dallas Stars scarf on. Nice.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Teaching him right.
That's right. All right, our man Husky, Joey. That was an awesome game. Dallas pressured, then had to survive a Jets offense and got back even. While I'm looking forward to savoring this Dr. Pepper, I really do feel for Mark Scheifele. I really, really do. I was hoping he would play today, and I'm glad he did. Yeah. I mean, terrific. Stick tap. Cheers.
Yeah.
I know Pops would be proud upstairs. That was it's brutal to even think about. But thank you so much, Husky, for doing that. I think as Stars fans, you wanted this game so bad, but I don't think you could not, in some part of your body or conscience, kind of give a slight cheer when Scheifele scored.
Yeah. No, I think you're I think you're completely right. Even me, I was like, it's all right. We like, that's fair. You almost felt good about it. It was a pretty goal too. And yeah, no, he deserved it too, just for the way he played. Even like, and not just all the, of course, out factors from what happened, but just he was really good tonight. And he got rewarded, and yeah, there was a smile on my face, and I think there probably was in the arena too. Like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Noah Brown, capital letters. They are going to their third straight Western Conference Finals. We're halfway there. That is what playoff hockey is all about. Otter with the save of the year. We are not going home. Anton Hudobin throwback.
Oh, man, I love to see him in the arena the other night, too. Awesome.
It was great. Also, just want to add condolences to Scheifele and his family. It is tough losing your father. Cheers, Gavin. So cheers back to you. Daniel Long says an ice cold Miller Lite to celebrate the win in our trip to the Western Conference Finals. Best team in Dallas sports. Make sure the boys at the fan scream it loud. We will certainly pass that on. I think the boys have been really behind this Stars team this year.
Yeah.
Green Star in Nashville, and partly because Joey's been popping on a lot too. What a game. Fitting this win comes on the 1-year anniversary of the Duchesne overtime game-winning goal. Can we please keep Harley on PP1 now? I feel like he's earned it at this point. Yeah, Joey, I don't foresee Pete DeBoer making that change where he would put Miro on power play number 1.
No, I don't either. I know they threw him out there to begin overtime, but I think they were maybe just kind of riding the hot hand because he was good tonight, and maybe they thought he deserved it, and that's fair. But I think you're right. For the most part, throw Harley out there. And we talked about him having the clutch gene, and Brian Ray just threw this out there, the wonderful pre and post post on Victory Plus. Most overtime winners by defensemen last 3 years, season and playoffs. Harley atop of them all with 6. And there's some pretty good characters behind him. Erik Karlsson with 5, Evan Bouchard with 5. So yeah, he's in good company, and yeah, what a year he's had. And I said, he's been the MVP, having to assume this responsibility and keep him on PP1. It's really nice when you can throw out Miro as your power play 2 quarterback. Much better than Dumba. I'll say that. That's not bad to have him be your backup.
No, you're absolutely right. Vastly
it's a
different.
good Cooper Rush. All right, Gavin, it's a good Cooper Rush.
yeah. And so you have that, and you have Granlund and Rantanen now. So a little bit different look as compared to last year. Supernova overs, Man of Steel, meaning Sam Steele. I like that. Jake F. Otter, Thomas Harley, Finnish Mafia, your Dallas Stars. And the beer is a Ziegenbach.
Oh,
very nice.
Yeah, great stuff.
All right. William got to watch the game back in Texas with family. Great game. Nothing but good things tonight. Cheers to you, William. Howie he, one of the best games I've watched in a long time. Love that the refs let the boys play separately. My son was born a few hours before Duchesne's game winner last year. This year, He got to stay up and watch Harley's. Maybe this will be a tradition.
Yeah, that's tough to live up to your birthday. Like,
I know.
Yeah, like if you're a father, it'd be like you get these wonderful overtime winners every day, and then what if they don't play one year? You're gonna be disappointing.
Yeah,
that's incredible. That's a good birthday gift. Hey,
no, it's a really good birthday gift, and if he can remember tonight's game, that's an amazing memory at 1 year.
Yeah. I was like the Rangers won on my birthday, the World Series a couple years ago. Like I'll never forget that.
Nice.
Like that was very fortunate because it's not every time you get a World Series game in November. And it was on my birthday and they won. So those are special memories. And I hope Wyatt Johnson maybe a decade down the line is going to have a big overtime winner. And he'll actually remember it maybe, but maybe he will. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Our Spits and Suds Italian Cup champion, Flo Wee, with an amazing playoff run. Great pictures the other day that he put out on social media of him raising that cup. At F Weezer 55 says, tonight we finally saw how the transition game works with Miro Heiskanen and Thomas Harley both playing excellent. Cheers all the way across the pond in Italy, my friend. All right. Belfour's Billions. Frosty. Nil is going to need a drink when he signs Harley's next deal. And Belfour is drinking Found North. Ooh, wow. That is a beautiful looking light whiskey. Very nice. Mm-hmm. Okay. Fuzzy Wuzzy Boom Boom. Cheers.
Fuzzy Boom Boom, baby.
Yeah. That's my guy right there. Get to drinking, buddy. We're going back to the Western Conference Final.
Close enough.
You know, I avoided that from 3 other tweets when it says WCF. I was really proud. I'm like, that's Western Conference Final. Make sure you say Western Conference
World
Final.
Champions.
That's right. Mm-hmm. All right, Rod Norton. Dallas Stars are moving on, and that's the bottom line. And a little gif of Stone Cold Steve Austin holding some Frosties. All right. B. Frank. I'm really happy Hellebuck and the Jets played a great game. No Jets choked on the road. Just Stars won the series in a great game. That is a absolutely terrific summary.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the exact same thing, Joey, that B. Frank's right. I'm really glad, and I know they're sad, and I'm sure Winnipeg is, they put so much into this team. This is the community's team. It's a small community. But at the same time, I really feel as though you cannot look at this Winnipeg team and not say, like, wow, our future, A, is bright. B, we took a really good Dallas Stars game to 6, our team to 6, and we gave it our all. And you know what? Our goalie played darn good tonight.
Yeah, that should probably be the number one takeaway in a lot of ways. This isn't, I think, either a typical second round loss in a lot of ways because of who the Stars are. And I think if the Stars lost, you could feel the same way. Like you're playing a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah.
Just like Colorado even. Like it sucks the way you lost, but you lost to a team that has a chance to win it all, or really you played in a series that was a Western Conference Final in round 1. And sometimes you have to shape it that way. It's really hard to do in the moment. Of course, it of course stings, but they went down swinging. And they also have to feel good that they got past round 1. That's sort of been a bugaboo of theirs, and they did it in incredible fashion. And Hellebuck seemed to figure it out, which is good, and you can build on that, right? It's you see this with a lot of teams. They take those steps, right? Dallas has taken those steps. Hopefully they finally get over the hump. Well, Winnipeg, they took a step forward, and hopefully they can continue that into next season. And I don't see why not. Like they the best team in the NHL the regular season. And they gave a good Stars team a fight till the end, and they went down swinging. And I think that's a great point from B. Frank. I believe you said, like, the Stars went out and won it. They won the series. And it wasn't because Winnipeg just kind of fell down and laid flat.
Yep, absolutely. And the last tweet of the night, Michael, they have overcome so much. As Miro showed enough that we go back to 12-6. We did talk about that, and we both agree that 12-6 we feel is the way to go, with Heiskanen's minutes continuing to go up.
Absolutely. Let's get 455 out there, baby. Load them up, Gavin. I want to see 455 against 97 and 29 the entire series. Nobody else.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you agree with me that Lyubushkin likely moves down to that third pairing with Bichel, and Petrovic's the odd man out.
Yeah. I think that's correct too. As you said earlier, CC's he's been fine, man. He's been fine, and it stinks for Petrovic in a lot of ways because I've loved what he's brought. Right. But Lyubushkin and Bichel have played together, which is nice. So there's some of that familiarity, and those are roles that are more suited for Lyubushkin too. That third pairing, CC drops down. And yeah, now you can load it up. And I said this the other day too. It's nice we're going to get to see Jim Nill's brainchild fully developed because everybody's healthy finally. Like, you didn't really see that much this season. Now it's finally here, and we kind of get to see really what this team is.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And talk about like health and the depth that they have this year compared to past years. Look at the scratches. And Matt Dumba hasn't been great, but he's still Matt Dumba. And if you needed to, in a desperate situation, now you can put in, if you do go 12-6, you could go Petrovic in. Okay, someone else goes down. Matt Dumba in. Oh, something else goes down. Brendan Smith in. I mean, Dumba and Smith are two NHL veterans that you can limit their minutes and, still get away with it. So that's, to me. And then you look at the forwards. If Oscar Beck is healthy enough, he goes. Oh, yeah. And there's Blackwell. Oh, yeah. And then there's Maverick Bourque. So it's fascinating the depth in which the Stars have right now, that they prepared themselves for injuries. And then you look back at the year, and it has been amazing to lose Tyler Seguin for that amount of time, to lose Miro Heiskanen for that amount of time, to lose Jake Oettinger for some games. This team has withstood this year. And then you had the trade. So a lot going on. Feel like they're kind of gelling at the right time. When the players are saying it's special, it's most likely special.
Yeah, and like Oscar Beck, he played 73 games in the regular season for you, and he hasn't checked back in for a few here in the postseason. Maverick Bourque played 73 games. Like, they were staples in your lineup. But of course, some of that was because of injuries. But remember January and all that? I mean, Ritskovian played 5 games. Matej Blumel played 7.
Yes.
Capobianco even played a game. R2 Hiru, he played 5. like they had to insert. I think at one point they had 7 rookies, I believe. I think with Stankoven in one game at one point. Like, that's how much chaos was kind of going on with all the injuries that they had just needed bodies to get into the lineup. And yeah, now like Beck, who's really been awesome this season, is a healthy scratch. And those are great. I think that's great signs. And you're right. If the Stars get in a pickle or anything, like, Matt Dumba is going to be serviceable. Brendan Smith could even be serviceable in his spot if you needed him. Hopefully you don't have to get to that point, but they're reaping the benefits of all the wonderful trades they made and just the roster construction in general. And you talked about a bit earlier, but just like with Jim Nill, just thinking about the future too. Like, there's some interesting decisions, in this off season. Like, we'll wait to discuss those. I'm sure we'll have a few episodes in the off season in a month or so, talking about Jamie Benn and the contract. Do you bring back Granlund? Duchesne? It's going to be really, really fascinating stuff.
So fascinating, because you have to manage the cap. And speaking of which, the Texas Stars play tomorrow in the Central Division Finals, and they are up 1-0 over the Milwaukee Admirals with a big win the other night. And you mentioned Ritzy. Justin Ritskovian had a heck of a year down in Texas, and he is tearing it up in the playoffs. Matthew Semenoff with a massive goal as well in that game one. So it's good to see some of the younger players, coming forward. And Texas is, they're going to be a tough out in the American Hockey League. So quality depth, even when you get down to the AHL. So Joey, you deserve to finish that Frosty in peace and enjoy the night. Man, I love doing these collabs.
Oh, absolutely.
Hello to everyone on Locked On Stars. You do a terrific job. Thank you so much, man. This has been fun celebrating with you, and I'm so glad we could do it together. I'm sure we'll be talking as this Western Conference Finals rolls on.
Yeah, well, let's make it happen for sure, because I know my listeners love to hear other perspectives. It's good for them to not hear me talk for 30 minutes a day. Sometimes it's good to switch it up. It's good for my brain too, just to just toss around and shoot the breeze a little bit. I appreciate you having me on as always. And yeah, this was awesome. Hopefully we can do it again. And yeah, it's just been such a fun season. I love talking hockey, and this is just such a great time of year for all of us. And appreciate what you do over at Spits and Suds. I know we have a lot of crossover listeners that like to bounce back and forth, which I hope everybody does. Like I like everybody to get their fix of Dallas Stars hockey on. There's a lot of options now, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. So stick tap to all the listeners out there. You guys deserve to celebrate tonight, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. We get going on Wednesday. So kudos to all of you throughout the year that have listened to Joey, that have listened to me. And of course, we're going to keep chugging along. It's been a terrific collab. For Joey Erickson, I'm Gavin Spittle of 105.3 The Fan. Raise the Frosties. Here we go. Back in action, but we'll have episodes prior to that on Locked On Stars and on Spits and Suds. Until then, have a wonderful I knew I was going to screw that up. Celebratory night. Have a great day, everyone.
See ya.